Hi, good evening, everyone. I call the Tuesday, January 7th, 2025 Board of Directors meeting to order. Would you please stand and join us? Actually, let me just note that Directors West and Butler are not with us this evening. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a good break and some time off. I do want to note that I recessed the board to an executive session at 5 o'clock this evening to consider the selection of a site for the acquisition of real estate and to review the performance of a public employee. That session lasted approximately 45 minutes and no action was taken. I also want to recognize that Superintendent Barr is not with us tonight, but we have our chiefs with us and some district administrators who will be standing in for her. So item 3.1 under recognitions is School Board Recognition Month. Do we have anything for that?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So just very briefly, we want to recognize our school board for the hard work they do in supporting students, staff, and the community. School board members are not paid, if anybody didn't know that. And school board members also represent the largest body of elected officials in the state. So we just want to say tonight briefly, thank you very, very much for your service. We really appreciate it. And John's got some nice certificates for you he's going to bring up there. So that's it. Just a quick thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
And thank you for these gifts up here. These are so cute. I don't know. I know you guys can't all see them, but there's a little reindeer pudding and root beer. I'm assuming that the kids have made this and notes. So these always make it home and stay displayed proudly. So thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. We are going to make a few amendments to the agenda this evening. As you can see, we're missing a lot of people, a lot of our voting board. And while we do have a quorum, we're going to pull off some of the final decisions on some important things. So I'm going to request to pull items 7.8, 8.2, 8.3, and 8.5, as well as the district technology report to the that we were supposed to have this evening. We're going to move that to January 21st as we have people who are out sick and unable to give that presentation. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved by David and seconded by Lori to approve the amended agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried. The agenda is approved as amended. And we'll move on to item 6, comments from the community on agenda items. And as I see, we don't have any agenda item comments, so we will roll to the consent agenda. Is there any discussion prior to the vote? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Is there a second, David?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Lori, seconded by David to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried and the consent agenda is approved. Okay, so our first item for discussion this evening is going to be item 8.1. This is the discussion addressing fire lanes in our buildings. So I think Chris was going to discuss that.
Sure, I would be happy to. This is just kind of an initial conversation because we're starting. Patrick might chime in here as well. Director of Facilities. We've been having a lot of issues at bigger events, mostly on nights and weekends, where we are seeing the public completely filling our fire lanes. Has us wanting to take a step back and start having a conversation with the community about. We do understand that there are parking challenges in some of our schools, but we do also need to make sure that we keep the fire lanes open. And so just a few things that we're looking at, we're going to be implementing. We will be starting a communication campaign with the community to let them know, hey, it's really important. And by the way, here are some additional parking options Especially at somewhere like Peninsula High School. There's parking at the ESC. There's parking at Purdy, depending on the event. So we're going to start that coming soon. Also looking at some temporary barriers. When we say that, it's more of like cones and sandwich boards, those kind of things, as well as additional signage to make sure that people understand that these are fire lanes and they're not just places you can park. And then potentially looking at bringing on people to help steer traffic during some of these events. And so just some simple things we're trying to do just to try and alleviate some of the problems that we're seeing at some of our larger events. So we just wanted to share that. Anything to add? Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
any questions, comments? No, I don't think so. I appreciate that. It's always just a good idea. I know parking can be a challenge sometimes, but I appreciate that. Okay. Moving on to we are now on item 8 point, sorry, we've tabled a couple of those.
Should be at
8.3, sorry.
What do you want?
No, we're not going to do the retire, we pulled that one. Okay, we are on item 8.4, review of the first reading of policy 3122, unexcused and excused absences. Is there any discussion? This is just a first read, so any discussion about the first read? Otherwise, we will move on. There's not a vote for that. Okay, item 8.6 is the first read of policy 5505. We're renumbering it to 5010. It's non-discrimination and affirmative action. Is there any discussion? Okay, item 8.7 is first read of policy 5510 to renumbering to 5251 related to conflicts of interest. Any discussion? Item 8.8, the review of the first reading of policy 5600 being renumbered to 5315. This is related to garnishment and personal credit problems. Any discussion there? Again, we're just going through the updates, the numbering, aligning everything to the WASDA model policies. Item 8.9, this is the approval of resolution 2501, the emergency declaration for water tower repairs. So over the holidays, we had a tree fall on the water tower that services Kopachuk Middle School and Voyager Elementary School. So this emergency declaration allows the school district to move forward on ordering repairs for that. It's a new water tower and under warranty, so we would like to be able to get that completed with the appropriate company that helps us maintain the warranty and in a timely manner. So since that time, though, we've had a temporary repair, the boil water advisory was out, and then water testing has been done, and so the quality of the water has been restored, and so school is fully operational, the water is fine, but we're just working to get this emergency repair done. Should I cover everything in that? Yes? Okay, any questions from board?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2501 for the emergency declaration for water tower repairs?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. It's been moved by David and seconded by Lori to approve resolution 2501. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried, and resolution 2501, the emergency declaration for water tower repairs, has been approved. So we will now move to comments from the community on non-agenda items. We do have a couple of speakers, but I wanted to make just a quick statement related to our December 3rd meeting. So before I start public comment, I wanted to address an issue that occurred at that meeting. After public comment period had concluded, a community member spoke without following the established protocol of signing up in advance, and I failed to intervene in that moment, and I take full responsibility for that, for not addressing it as I should have in that time. It was an oversight on my part, and I recognize the concerns that were raised regarding fairness and consistency. And several staff members and community members have shared feedback, and I appreciate it. You're right, and it does reinforce the importance of maintaining a fair and orderly process. So as a reminder, all speakers must sign up in advance and will be called upon by the board president. Comments should remain within the allotted time limit, which is typically 3 minutes, and they must adhere to the same standards of civility that we impose upon ourselves. So I always encourage speakers to respect the privacy, especially when speaking about students in their remarks, and then moving forward, I will ensure that our rules are consistently enforced to maintain respect and keep our meetings productive. So with that said, we have two speakers signed up this evening. Our first will be Chris Doherty, so please come to the podium and you will have your 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, good evening. My name is Chris Doherty, and I am the parent of two students from PSC. Over the past 2 school years, we've heard numerous community members, parents, and students speak out against the ongoing racial and LGBTQ slurs within our schools. Unfortunately, it often felt as though these concerns have fallen on deaf ears. It is encouraging to see Thank you. It is encouraging to see that the district is finally acknowledging the seriousness of this issue. While some in our community may oppose educating students about Ruby Bridges, the impact of colonialism on Native communities, or topics related to oppressed groups, it is crucial that we continue to teach our students about the diverse cultures that make up our society. As we move into the new year, this work will become even more challenging as the incoming administration appears determined to silence marginalized voices. The reality is that xenophobia, bigotry, and racism are deeply ingrained in our Gig Harbor community. We've seen it firsthand at these board meetings where some community members try to mask their harmful views under the guise of a plea to quote-unquote protect the children. As a woman of color, it is both exhausting and infuriating to realize that we are still fighting for our voices to be heard. It is equally draining when those who perpetuate oppression play the victim simply because we refuse to remain silent. Our school district must rise above the hateful rhetoric and fully embrace all students, regardless of race or gender, while maintaining a zero-tolerance policy for any racial or LGBTQ slurs within our schools. Only then can our students, staff, and educators truly feel safe to learn and teach. Thank you. Thank you.
And next we have Peter Frazier.
Hi. On behalf of the Gig Harbor for Racial Justice, I just wanted to invite you, board members, district leadership, to the 3rd annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. It's going to be Sunday, January 19th at 3:30 at the Gig Harbor United Methodist Church. Everyone is invited to come. And our main speaker will be Dr. Karen Bolton, who is on the school board for the Bremerton School District, and there'll be students involved with it. There'll be music and messages, and there is a registration QR code and link, and I sent you an email as well as gave you a hard copy just in case the email didn't come through. And we just ask that you bring a non-perishable food item, and everyone's invited. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes comments from the community this evening, and we might actually be out of here in record time. Thought that we won't, but that takes us to the superintendent's, aka PSD Chief's report for the evening.
All right, good evening. Thank you for the chance to share a few things. Obviously, we're back for 2025 and looking forward to a really great second half of the school year. Semester ends real soon here at the end of the month. I'm sure you'll hear from the students about finals and stuff like that when we come together again at the end of the month. In terms of some things I want to share beyond that, so we've been talking off and on about the HIB review that's going on with some of the folks from the Puget Sound ESD, and I just want to let you know we're still in the midst of that review. We've got some additional interviews scheduled this month. We're going to bring together a second student symposium. They were here on site back in November when we brought all our students together from the high schools and asked them some of their perceptions and feelings around harassment and bullying and how we were tackling race and how students felt around belonging, and some of those things we've discussed when we get into like panorama survey results and those sorts of topics. So we're going to bring them back together. Chris and I actually have an appointment later in the week. We're going to take the data from the first meeting, we're going to put it into a custom AI chatbot, and we're going to let the students access that data through that platform, and then we're going to let them make some recommendations to us about some things we can do to help them feel a greater sense of belonging and feel a better part of the school district and their school and those sorts of things too. And we kind of brainstormed that idea together as Chris and I and Superintendent Barr were invited to talk with an individual student at one of the high schools back early in December, right? So we think that might be a really great way to get students access to what was shared kind of anonymously and then really dive into what they said and hopefully come up with some really great things we can put into action later in the school year. And then like I was saying, we're going to be interviewing a few more staff over the next couple days and couple weeks. We're expecting a preliminary report really soon. And then at our second board meeting in February, the board will be hearing that report from the review team. We'll go into detail and all of that sort of stuff at that point in time. So we're excited to have the chance to share that with everybody real soon. And those are the couple things I want to share. Thanks, Chris.
Okay. I'll try and keep it quick. Just want to bring up three little things that are happening right now. A few months ago, 15 teachers from across the country were chosen to go to New York City with Google, because they were chosen as 3 of the most innovative AI teachers in the country, or 15 of the most innovative teachers in the country. And actually 3 of them are from here in Peninsula School District, and they are in New York City right now presenting their practicum work from the first half of the year on what they've been doing with AI. So it'll be really great to have them. But I wanted to share that they are, being honored in New York City right now. Along that same vein, next week we'll be taking 6 staff members down to Stanford, because we've been invited to come down and work with them to co-build a project around universal design for learning and AI. And so we'll be going down next Tuesday for that. And the last thing I was going to mention here is that Superintendent Barr and I will be presenting at the AI Super Summit in Tampa in the end of the month. We've been invited to present at a national AI conference, and so we'll be heading down there for that. So I just thought I'd like to share those 3 things that are going on right now.
That's a lot.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And I'm just going to share a brief update about 3 ongoing teaching and learning priorities. So as you all know, we're well into our 2nd elementary ELA pilot. We have a few weeks left. That will wrap up mid-February. And we actually have some representatives from CKLA joining us next Thursday to do some classroom walkthroughs and visitations, and then debrief with us at the end of the day. So again, the pilot will wrap up mid-February. We hope to have the adoption committee engaged in some decision making, taking into account all of the data and survey data also from families and parents and students, and have a recommendation to IMC in March and bring a recommendation to the board in April. Middle school ELA, we're on a similar time frame, well into our 2nd pilot with Amplify. And again, we have some representatives from Amplify who will be joining us next Wednesday for some walkthroughs, to meet with teachers, have some discussions with our administrative team. And again, hope to bring a recommendation to the IMC in March and a recommendation to the board for a middle school core ELA adoption in April. And lastly, while ELA has been our focus, as you know, we do need to turn our attention to math, K through 12. So on February 7th, we'll begin the process of bringing together math leaders, both teachers, educators, and principals, in order to identify, based on the research, a set of key guiding principles for math based on a review of all of the research, the science of learning when it comes to mathematics. And begin that work. One of the core questions we'll be asking is, what does high-quality mathematics instruction look like in the classroom? And then really talking about, do our current resources, materials, curriculum align with that evidence-based research and practices that we know are effective for mathematics. So we hope to have a study session in the spring with the board and be able to share more about math. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Any questions for the chiefs? No? Okay. All right, well, that takes us to item 12, board discussion and comments. So who wants to go first? Anything to share?
I'll just go first. I just hope everyone had a good holidays. I had a nice time. I got to go over to see family over Central Washington, so hope everyone had a good Christmas holiday, whatever you celebrate. Hope you had a good one. As a legislative rep, I'll be at the legislative conference here this weekend. And then also Thursday night, the legislative send-off. We had a lunch week and a half ago or so with our 3 state legislators, Jennifer Kreslin and I, to discuss what are concerns of the school district, and 2 of them are new. And so to be able to give them some ideas of what we might like to see them work on for us on the behalf of the Peninsula School District. And so other than that, I'm just looking forward to an amazing 2025. So thank you.
Short and sweet. I really don't have much to add. Thank you for the updates, and as well in the executive session beforehand. It's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to 2025 and all that the new year brings. It feels like it's been a long time, I think, because our last meeting was the first part of the month, so it's been more than a month since we met. But anyway, nice to see you all back, and I don't have anything to report. I'm looking forward to seeing some basketball games and some other winter sports.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I will also keep it short. I think we'll just mention Creston is en route to Washington, D.C. She's going to be at the executive directors meeting for AASA. However, trouble with weather in D.C., so I think she's stuck somewhere in the middle right now and is hoping to make it there tomorrow. But she always does such a good job representing us, and comes back with great ideas. I don't have much to add. Again, we'll just keep it short. We'll welcome everyone back to a new year. It's going to be really busy. So from this, everyone had a little bit of downtime and breather, I think, up until today, and it's full speed ahead, especially getting ready for the legislative session. So stay tuned and keep in touch, and I hope that you will help us engage with advocacy for our schools when it comes time to testify, or when we talk about bills that look like they're going to be pushing forward that support our district and students. We will keep everyone informed on how you can support that. So we will end tonight at 6:22. I think that might be a record. Our next meeting, business meeting, will be January 21st here at Swiftwater Elementary at 6:00 p.m. and we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
I think that might